Homestead. I'm Carol, and today I'm going to show you how I bottle the green beans, which is probably from the last harvest of the year. So here's the beans. We're expecting a frost, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night. So this may be the last harvest for the year, most likely. If I get more beans, I'll probably just blanch them and freeze them like I did the first few batches. So the first thing that I'm going to do is show you how I put the beans in some bottles that are hot. I've got some hot water in them. That's just to sort of lessen the shock when I pour hot water in with the beans. So fill the bottle with beans, put in a ½ teaspoon of salt because these are quart jars, and then put the water in and put the lids on, which have been in hot water also, and the rings. And we'll just go to that point. I have the bottles in the sink here, filled with hot water. I'm going to use this funnel. It's a wide bottom funnel. I don't know if that's what you call it, but that's what it is. That makes it easier to get those beans in the jar. And I like to make them settle down a little. Settle them down. That leaves a little bit more jar, or more room in the jar. Okay. So you bring them up to within 1/2 inch. One of my books says 1/2 inch from the jar top, 1/2 inch of headspace. Another one says 1 inch. So somewhere around there. Then here's my salt. This makes it easy to measure, 1/2 inch. And then pour in hot water. Now, if you're afraid that your water is too hot, and you're afraid you might break a jar by pouring in your hot water, there's two things you can do. First of all, you can pre-cook your beans. I don't remember what it is for a hot pack because we always do raw pack. But you can cook them a little bit so that your beans are hot. That's one way. Or you can just do what I did, just fill them up part way to begin with. Do another jar, fill it up part way with the water, and then go back to the first jar, add a little bit more water. In fact, if you want, oops, one of them jumped out onto the floor. If you want to, you can fill up all your jars with beans, and then do all the water at once. Okay, so that one's about half full of water. Now I'm going to go back to this one. 1/2 inch headspace. Make sure that your rims are clean, rims of your bottles. Put on the lid, put on the ring, and then put it in the canner. Okay, now I'll finish filling this one up. Looks good. Now what I'm going to do is finish filling the jars, and then I will show you what the canner looks like. I didn't mention that also it is suggested that you go around the sides of the jar just in case there's any trapped air in there. All right, here's the pressure canner, the bottom part of it, and there are the pints that I just filled. So I have 6 of them. That will be good. And so now, time to put the lid on the canner. We'll just do that now. There's little marks on the canner right here, an arrow and a word that says open. So you can line up that arrow with the word open, and then you close it like that, and the arrow is lined up with the word closed. Now we have to, I've got the heat on high, and we have to let it come up to a boil, and steam is going to come out of this little spout right here, and we need to let it steam for 10 minutes before we put the rocker on. This is the rocker that we're going to be putting on this, just like that. So after the steam comes out of there for 10 minutes, then we will put the rocker on that. It's steaming. I don't know if you can tell that, but it is steaming. Here's the lid. Goes right there. Timer. Oh, that was wrong. Don't put that on yet. Steam for 10 minutes, then put that on. I don't know what I was thinking. It's time. Now we put the rocker on. Okay. Okay. Here's the gauge that is on the lid of the canner. And right now it says, let's see, about 8 pounds pressure. In this altitude where I live, it needs to get up to 15 pounds pressure. So I just watch it until it's almost there, and then I start turning down the heat. We're almost there. Minutes. So now It's my job to stay nearby and keep my eye on this. And if it starts to get below 15 pounds of pressure, then I need to turn it up a little bit. If it gets above 15 pounds of pressure, I need to turn it down a little bit. Hopefully it will not get below. It's better to have it a little bit on the high side instead of under. If it's under the correct amount of pressure, you need to restart your timer. You have to keep it at the right amount of pounds for the right amount of time, or a little bit higher. I usually like to be like 15 and a half, so I'm actually going to turn my heat up a little bit. And I'll just keep watching that and be back. I've been able to keep the pressure just a little bit above 15 pounds pressure. See if I can get a better view of that. Okay, there we go. And so now it's been 20 minutes, so it's time to turn off the stove. And that's all that we do for now. Now we just wait until that pressure comes clear down to 0. So we just wait. Let pressure return to 0 naturally. Wait 2 minutes, then open vent. Unfasten lid, raise canner lid toward you, allowing steam to escape in opposite direction. See you in 2 minutes. Now, we have to let them sit in the canner for 10 more minutes. Okay, it's time to take the jars out of the canner. You should set them 1 to 2 inches apart. On a surface like this folded towel. Some of them have already sealed. I heard the seal pop while they were still sitting in the canner. By the way, I meant to tell you that it suggests 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom of your pressure canner. That's all you need. It's not a boiling water bath like the other method of canning when you're doing fruits and jams and pickles and things like that. But when you're using the pressure canner, you just need 2 to 3 inches of water in the bottom. Follow your book. Whatever your book tells you to do, that's what you do. Now, I spaced these 2 or 3 inches apart, or 1 or 2 inches apart. And you are not to retighten the lids. I know that sometimes people think, oh, the lids aren't really super tight right now. I can tell that, you know, maybe I should tighten these up, but don't. Do not retighten the lids, because if you do, you could cause it to seal when it wasn't really prepared to seal, when it wouldn't have sealed naturally if done the proper way. So you could have spoiled food in there, or food that will spoil because it wasn't processed correctly for some reason. And if you go ahead and tighten them and cause the seal to happen, then you won't know that the food is spoiled until you actually open it up and get sick from it. So yeah, don't force a seal. So don't try to retighten the lids when you bring them out of the canner. They need to cool for 12 to 24 hours. So I don't have to worry about these again until tomorrow night. So that'll be good. Because yeah, it was a long wait, waiting for that pressure to go down, right? So tomorrow night, after these have all cooled down, and I can check the lids to make sure they've sealed, to make sure that when I push down on it, it doesn't go pop, 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 you know, up and down. So if it's doing that, that means it didn't seal, and you need to put it in your fridge and eat it for dinner or whatever. Let's see. I just want to... Okay, so tomorrow then, check for the seals. That's what I will do. Take off the rings, and then check again. Just kind of lightly lift on the edges of the lid. If it comes off, then it's not sealed. So it needs to be on there firm. And then I will put them over in the sink, and I will rinse them off and wash them with a cloth. Wash all around the edges where the ring used to be. What do you call it? I don't know, the top of the jar. Just wipe around it well to make sure that there's nothing sticky there. I don't think there would be with bottling beans, because it's just beans and water and salt. There's no sugar there to make it sticky or anything. So they're pretty easy to clean up. Dry them off. Mark them however you want to. I usually just put the date on them. I figure if I can't tell what is in my jar, I better not be eating what is in my jar. I better just throw it away. But I can usually tell, I can always tell what's in my jars. So all I do is put the date on. So I will do that. Let's see what else, if I missed anything. Store in a cool, dry, dark place. So hopefully you have a cool, dry, dark place that you can store all of your food storage in. It will just last longer if you store it that way. Thanks for joining me on this bean bottling adventure. I noticed that within the first couple of minutes, I made a couple of blunders. I said quart instead of pint. I said inch instead of teaspoon. And yeah, I don't know why, I just had a hard time getting going today. But if you can find those mistakes that I made near the first of this video, you can be the winner. In the meantime, I'll try to figure out how to fix things like that. If you like this video, if you learned something new, then hit the like button. If you didn't learn anything new, then hit the like button. And remember that even when you take it slow, you can accomplish a lot. Thanks for watching.